The International Space Station was a truly remarkable achievement in fostering good relations between the US and Russia and beginning a new era of space cooperation. Although advanced aerospace technology slowed down significantly during its introduction, all those involved benefited immensely. However, current geopolitical tensions, along with the rise of the People's Republic of China, seem to have begun to spell the end of the ISS as competitors are being built. In this new era, the primary drivers of the US space industry have been private aerospace companies who continue to dream even bigger. But as the demand for access to low Earth orbit rises, NASA officials see the ISS eventually being replaced by a diverse market of commercial space stations. The International Space Station will be formally shut down in 2031, according to plans released by NASA. The station has been in orbit since dozens of launches since 1998, so bringing it down will be a significant accomplishment given the risks involved. The accumulation of NASA's decommissioning plans will be a fiery plunge into the Pacific Ocean's middle at Point Nemo, also known as the spacecraft graveyard, and the farthest point from any form of civilization. While it is well known that the ISS has long outlived expectations and is aging hard, NASA still had to provide proper reasonings for decommissioning. So, what did they say about the reasons? The private sector is technically and financially capable of developing and operating commercial low Earth orbit destinations with NASA's assistance, said Phil McAllister, NASA's Director of Commercial Space, in a news release. We look forward to sharing our lessons learned and operations experience with the private sector to help them develop safe, reliable, and cost-effective destinations in space. The ISS was intended to last for 15 years, but NASA has repeatedly increased the lifespan and now wants the station to be operational through at least 2030. As government initiatives for a replacement are still a long way off, there are also plans for a Russian space station, which will probably be made up of ISS detached modules. In the meantime, China launched the first module of its own Taigong space station last year and intended to finish building it out in the coming months. Due to their governance expertise, NASA and its partner organizations oversee the use of their jointly owned infrastructure and are consulted on operations. However, as technology advances, NASA now buys seats on SpaceX-owned rockets. In the end, NASA will be treated like any other client of private operators. NASA anticipates saving about $1.75 billion annually by 2033 as a result of the switch to commercial LEO operations. The money saved will probably go toward more ambitious missions that will eventually send astronauts to Mars and the Moon. They announced their intentions to move towards it in December 2021. In order to begin developing concepts for a commercial space station suitable for low Earth orbit, or LEO, NASA granted a total of $415.6 million to 3 commercial teams led by Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space venture, NanoRacks, and Northrop Grumman during that month. Axiom Space, yet another business, is currently constructing a commercial module for the ISS that will eventually serve as the foundation for a standalone space station. Let's hear for a moment what ISS experts think about private involvement. On July 25, 2022, a panel featuring ISS Chief Scientist Kurt Costello and ISS National Lab Chief Scientist Mike Roberts continued the morning's discussions. According to Roberts, a wide variety of private space stations will be available, each with a distinct design or set of skills. Each of these commercial LEO destination companies, the 4, are going to be looking at ways to address different needs from different consumers out there. Each of those companies is likely to take slightly different approaches to designing and operating their stations, and that's going to have, I think, an extremely beneficial value. Now let's take a brief look at each of their proposals. Northrop Grumman was founded in the 1930s and had a long-standing partnership with NASA, the oldest of the 3 organizations receiving awards. Its design depicts a space station most reminiscent of the ISS and would use mostly already existing hardware and software. It has a cylindrical model that resembles the Habitation and Logistics Outpost, or HALO, that the company is currently creating for NASA's envisioned Gateway space station, which will orbit the Moon. A bigger variety of its Cygnus cargo spacecraft, which has already been launched numerous times to deliver supplies to the ISS, will also be included. On the other hand, the proposed NanoRacks Starlab station will have a completely different appearance. The large inflatable habitat could be launched into orbit using just one launch, and it would include a science lab, docking port, power and propulsion element, robotic arm, and about a third as much pressurized cabin space as the ISS. The Houston-based company is partnering with NanoRacks' majority shareholder, Voyager Space, as well as Lockheed Martin. Although metallic habitats are older than inflatable ones, the technology has been around for a long time. The inflatable beam module from Bigelow Aerospace has been affixed to the ISS since 2016. The proprietary materials used to construct NanoRacks' habitat are intended to provide protection from space radiation and debris, which continue to be dangerous. Keeping the highest profile competitor at the end, the metallic core and science modules, as well as an inflatable habitat called Life, are both components of Blue Origin's Orbital Reef space station, which is being developed by Sierra Space. To support a range of activities, the architecture is intended to be a mixed-use space business park. NASA will be the main visitor at any of these space stations. However, as the demand for commercial space travel increases, more people may visit the station for other reasons, such as tourism, sports, entertainment, or advertising. In fact, market forces may determine how the ISS's successor develops and which additional modules are given top priority for development. That might initially lead to competition for the limited space available. Astronauts from the US, Europe, Russia, Japan, and Canada might wind up fighting for space and legroom for their research-focused experiments, while private customers do the same for their activities. However, as the station is constructed over time, various activities will be dispersed among the various modules, ensuring that no one is sleeping in the lab and that visitors who simply want to take in the scenery and zero-G life are not obstructing the astronauts. However, NASA and its commercial partners will have their work cut out for them if they want to have the first stages of a new space station in orbit by the late 2020s. NASA faces significant challenges with fully executing the plan in time to meet its 2028 goal and avoid a gap in the availability of a low Earth orbit destination, states the agency's Office of Inspector General report. It's time for humanity to return to the moon, and this time NASA planned to make it permanent. NASA will establish a long-term human presence on the lunar surface as part of its Artemis missions, including a permanent habitat, a rocket launcher, and even a nuclear power plant. The Gateway, a brand new space station mentioned previously that will orbit the moon, is being built by the space agency to make it all possible. The Gateway is a joint effort between numerous nations, much like the ISS, along with NASA. Other private aerospace companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Boeing are also contributing to the effort, and as are the European, Canadian, and Japanese space programs. SpaceX has already committed to launching a habitation module and a propulsion system on its Falcon Heavy launch vehicle in 2024 as the Gateway's initial components. It is best to picture the Gateway as a transit station or a smaller Space Station V from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Astronauts will use the Gateway as a place to dock before they set foot on the moon or before they return to Earth. The station will serve as a laboratory, mission control, and command post for lunar operations. It will be large enough to accommodate 4 astronauts for up to 3 months. However, the outpost will only be a sixth of the size of the ISS when it is finished. However, the space station already faces some competition even as NASA looks to more nations to help with the Gateway. In March, China and Russia decided to work together on moon research projects, including building an international scientific lunar station. Although we don't know much about these plans yet, nations and businesses looking to join an international partnership to conduct moon research now have 2 different space stations to choose from. Being free to conquer the moon is a powerful motivator that ties together NASA's decision to let go of the ISS to private companies. Let us know what you think NASA or any other major player might do. Will the Americans be able to replace their ISS before the Chinese can make a better version? Be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for regular space news and updates. Thanks for watching.